Hello and welcome. My name is Stefan Poschig from CHC Corporate Health Consulting, and you are watching the newest episode of our CHC Expert Series. Today, I have a very special guest, and she is an absolute genius when it comes to LinkedIn. So, hello and welcome, Brynne Tillman. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you so much for having me on today. I'm Brynne Tillman. I help business development professionals, anyone responsible for client acquisition, to leverage LinkedIn and AI to start trust-based conversations without being salesy.
That's cool. I really like it. Thank you very much. So, Brynne, we already had a few conversations because we met in a cool network, basically, a couple of weeks ago, the first time. And I know you have a huge LinkedIn network. So before I jump into to basically get to know how you build your LinkedIn network and how you use it, would you say LinkedIn is a social media platform, or would you say LinkedIn is a networking platform?
Oh, what a wonderful question. So I will say that it's sort of a hybrid of a few things. So it is definitely a social media platform based on the definition of what social media is, right? It's a digital platform where people can have conversations and meet and leverage one another. So it absolutely is a social media platform. It is also a job seeking and recruiting platform.
Okay.
It is a networking platform because it's a fabulous place to be able to meet your ideal audience. And it's a sales platform where there's an opportunity to really attract, teach, engage, and leverage your existing connections to start conversations with your targeted audience. So it really is probably the best B2B platform in the world for anyone in business who's looking to expand their network, have more conversations with the right people in the right time with the right content and the right credibility.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. So let's jump in because the last topic you said, okay, it's a sales platform. I mean, my feeling is that most of the people on LinkedIn did not understand how to use it because, of course, a sales platform, but I get dozens of invites or DMs every single week where basically people I never heard of try to hard sell or cold call or cold sell anything to me. And it's so obvious when I read their messages that they have no idea who I am, what we do. Most of them obviously never ever looked on my LinkedIn profile. So yes, I agree.
And they probably lied and said they looked at your profile.
Oh yeah, yes, right. Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about the sales platform, LinkedIn.
So I love that question. And sales does not mean pitch, right? So let's start there. The connect and pitch is a bait and switch. You have to earn the right to get the conversation. But sales is a whole process, right? And sales can start from networking, right? Why do you go to networking groups? Why do you go to trade shows or conferences to meet people? It ultimately is to lead to sales, to lead to new business, to lead to relationships that might lead to new business. Almost every single thing we do on LinkedIn in sales is about leading to revenue, right? Whatever that looks like. So if we're entrepreneurs, CEOs, sales leaders, business development professionals, anything in the B2B realm is around revenue, whatever that might look like. So let's start there, and then let's put a couple of, I would say, boundaries around using it as a sales platform. So parameters really that we want to stay in. So the first one is, in order for you to do this well, you need to detach from what the prospect is worth to you and attach to what you are worth to the prospect.
I like it. I definitely take this as a note here. Yeah.
Yeah. So sales does not mean I'm going to pitch you and say, hey, we have clients just like you. Do you want us to help you do X, Y, and Z? It's not. It's about earning the right. And we earn the right through value and insights and really great content that's meaningful to the recipient.
Mhm.
If we are attached to the sale where we show up pitching, we're going to lose every single time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless someone is actively looking for your solution, you are going to do exactly the opposite of what you're looking to do.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? You're going to repel them instead of attract them.
Yeah.
However, go ahead. Go ahead. No,
even if I am looking for a specific solution and by accident somebody sends me a DM right in this time frame, I'm very, very suspicious because of the type of the connection and the type of conversation and how they basically reach out to me. Because basically most pitches I get are not even from my first connections. They are second, third connections, and they have 50 connections or 120 connections on LinkedIn, which is basically, I mean, you and I, we know, just starting and the first couple of days on LinkedIn, and I have 50 connections or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's often automation as well.
Yeah.
So it's often it's not just a human being with 50 connections, but it's a fake profile with automation. Right. Often, not always, but often.
Yeah, but often, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. Number one, you need to connect with people with a purpose. And the purpose is with context. And it's not, the context is not, I want to make a sale. It's, I want to earn the right for someone to care about being my connection.
Yeah.
I want to earn the right by bringing extreme value to my network. I want to earn the right by respecting their inbox. So, what could that look like? And there's lots of different ways to start a conversation that's very valuable to the recipient. So, so I'll go through, we call them campaigns, but I don't want people to think of them as like a typical, I'm just going to campaign out, right? But let's say we have prospect by interview. So I have a piece of content. I go out to my prospects to interview them for a quote in the blog post or the ebook that I'm going to be publishing. And I start a conversation around their expertise. Now, you can't bait and switch that. But what you will do is you will hear in that natural conversation some gaps that you might be able to help them with.
Yeah.
But you cannot bait and switch that call.
Yeah.
You need to publish the content with their quote and come back to them and say, hey, your quote is amazing. I really think it's going to help my readers.
Yeah.
I hope you don't mind, but when we were chatting, I heard you say this and I've been thinking about it. And I have some ideas for you. Are you open to another call?
Yeah.
So now it's permission-based. I've already built rapport with you. They can say no. They can ignore me. Or if I've done a good job of building that rapport, they'll say, sure, I'll hear you out.
Okay.
And now it's permission.
Sorry to interrupt you here, because this is so interesting here, and we have hundreds of people in our CHC Academy, and we get LinkedIn questions every single mentor call. We get questions about how you use LinkedIn, how we can better use LinkedIn, and all. So you would put this information or this request already in your contact request. So basically, when you want to connect with somebody and you add a personal message, you already would write into, hey, Brynne, context, whatever. Yeah. And I would love to do an interview with you, or I like what your last posting, and I would love to have a quote from you for my ebook. Right in the connection request.
So it, and again, like the campaign would have to be through straight criteria.
Yeah.
So let's say we search our ideal prospect that posted on LinkedIn in the last 30 days.
Yes.
Now, the first step would be I'd go in, I'd read it, I'd engage appropriately, and then I'd reach out. Stefan, I really enjoyed the post that you put out. Your perspective is excellent. I'm looking to interview a few people for an upcoming blog post. If you're open, let's connect.
Yeah, got it.
right? Now you connect. Thanks for connecting. As I mentioned, we have a blog post on this topic. As a sales and marketing expert, I would love to quote you in this content.
Yeah.
If you're open, please let me know. I can send you a link to schedule a time.
Yeah. Awesome.
All permission-based, by the way.
Yeah, of course. I mean, because you are not pitching, but you're basically offering something. I want to invite you or include you in something, and then you basically start a conversation. Yeah. I always use the analogy. I think analogy is the right word. I hope I pronounced it right.
Analogy. Yep.
Analogy. Thank you very much. Perfect. Yeah. You would never ever go into a bar and you see a person standing at the bar, and the first thing is you go there and ask to marry this person, or if this person wants to marry you. I mean, nobody would do this in the real world. On the other hand side, on LinkedIn,
they're proposing.
They try it every single time. Yeah.
But this is another, I talked about detached from the prospect is worth to you and attached to what you're worth to the prospect. The other one that's really important to keep in mind is we need to slow down our outreach to speed up our outcome. LinkedIn is not a throw it all on the wall and hope it sticks. LinkedIn is a 24/7 networking meeting. Yeah. And if you're out there just connecting blindly, it's like going to a conference, walking around the tables and just collecting the business cards. Like, there's no conversation. It's pointless. It really is. So less volume, more targeted, better conversations. You need to be relevant to them. And your content actually has to hit 5 points. Yeah. The first point it has to hit is resonate with your buyer, right? So make sure that you are mentioning, if I want to interview you, I want to interview sales leaders. I want to interview hiring managers, like make them go, this is exactly who this is for me. This is me. They want to interview me. The more generic it is, the less success you'll have. Yeah. Right. So you need to resonate. You need to create enough curiosity that it's a topic that they'll lean into. Right. It's got to be like, I wouldn't mind talking about that. Or, I'm really interested. Yeah. The third thing it needs to do, and this is the end result really, is it needs to teach the reader something new that they didn't know before. Because if it's what they've heard over and over and over again, it's just 1 in 1,000 and 1 in 1,000,000, and nobody takes it care anymore. Yeah, and they're not going to want to read your next thing. Yeah, right. So you need to teach them something new and then here's the magic in number 4 is what they just learned. They need to start thinking about that in their company, in their organization. So it needs to go from that was interesting that I learned this to, I wonder how that would happen, how that would work here. That's how we earn the right, by the way, right? Because if we go, we can spark a little thought about how they could do things differently through content, not pitch. We hit number 5, which is we create a compelling moment. Yeah. We move them from lurker to engager. We get likes and comments, a connection request, a connection acceptance. They respond to the email. What we now identify who they are and that they're out there, because we can't start a conversation until we know that they're there. Yeah. Definitely. Right. So when Brynne, when you say the content needs to hit these 5 criteria, are we talking about the blog post? Are we talking about a posting on LinkedIn? Or are you also talking about, when I am connected with you, then when I send something to you, for example, I also need to hit these 5 criteria. Yeah. And you can do it in 2 lines. Like it's not it doesn't have, but yes, everything. Your profile needs to do this. Your headline needs to resonate and create curiosity. Then your content, your featured section, your about section is where you are teaching them something new that gets them thinking differently about their current situation. Got it. Yeah. Right. And then a call to action. But your ebooks need to do this. Your videos need to do this. Your messages, inbound messages, even your, that connection request. We're interviewing your role. So I'm a little on this topic. Yeah. If you're open, let's connect. I'd love to get your perspective. Yeah. And so if they go, oh, that's me, I'm curious, that would be great. So what am I thinking differently about? I'm going to get exposure. I'm going to get, like I'm important. I'm thinking differently about my insights right now that somebody else is interested in gathering them, right?
Yeah.
And then the call to action is let's connect. Yeah. Then the next call that I'm looking forward to interviewing you. They're all excited about being, mentioned. I mean, I will tell you, I never say no to these things, and I will say no to every pitch in the world.
Yeah.
But if someone wants to amplify my voice, sure, I'm in.
Of course, me too. Somebody wants to interview me or whatever. Yeah, I'm here. Let's go.
Yeah. And that's just one of many, many campaigns.
Yeah.
There are so many. You could do simple interview by poll.
Can you give us 2 or 3 other campaigns? Sure. Because I mean, I love this approach. What you just basically taught us. Yeah. What are 2 or 3 other approaches? Yeah.
So a very easy one is prospect by polls. You put out a poll. I'd love your one-click vote. So we start to engage that way. And I'll say, this is a poll. And by the way, you need to be very specific because even that poll needs to resonate and create curiosity.
Again, the 5 criteria. We need to hit the 5 criteria with this poll.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To convert whatever we're doing to a trust-based conversation. Right. So we have this poll that's very clearly for their role, that very clearly touches a point. Now this curiosity could be a little different. It's still curiosity. But one thing that LinkedIn does exceptionally well is you can't see how people voted until you vote.
Yeah.
You can see how many votes, but you can't see the breakdown.
Yeah. Right.
So if you're creating curiosity, now their curiosity is how are my peers voting?
Yeah. Right.
Right. So they go, okay, so they're going to vote to find out how their peers are voting.
Yeah.
So now we've got that. They've engaged. That's great. And then, hopefully in our post, we've taught them something new that gets them thinking a little bit differently why we've got this poll.
Yeah.
Right. And so now they've voted and now we can start a conversation around that. And by the way, it's a myth. If you build it, they will come. You have to invite them. So you can invite up to 10 first-degree connections to any of your content. A poll is a perfect one to do that. And so you just say, as a sales leader, I'd love your one-click vote on this poll. Once it closes, I'm happy to share the insights we gleaned from you and your peers.
Yeah. No, a perfect approach. I see. I love it. Yeah. Yeah.
So another one might be prospect by influencer.
Okay.
So I go, okay, Jeffrey Hazlett's an influencer. He's attracting all the people that I want to engage. I go out, I find a podcast that Jeffrey's been on. Then I go into my connections and into my filters, and I can search followers of Jeffrey Hazlett. And I can reach out. I see that we're both big fans of Jeffrey Hazlett. Recently heard him on this podcast on this topic. If you're open, let's connect. I'm happy to send it over to you.
Okay. So you go into the second you go into the first connections from Jeffrey Hazlett, and then you connect with them, right? Or you go into your own connections
it's my own search. So
yes, it's your search, but you are searching in your second connections from Jeffrey Hazlett, right?
I could do my first, so I can see all of his followers, not his connections.
Okay.
Unless I'm a first-degree connection.
Yeah.
But I can see everyone that follows him, no matter what, even if I am not his connection. So if I go into the search bar in the free LinkedIn and I hit enter, all filters and then followers of Jeffrey Hazlett. Now I could do my first-degree connections. I could do in the professional services industry, that went to my college, like I could filter any of those things.
Yeah. Right.
Right. And so then I can see all the people that are following him and now I can leverage that to connect. Now I look at it, he is now the keynote. He is, at the event, and all these people following are people in the audience. They paid the ticket to come listen to him speak, right? So our conversation is about here's a podcast, you follow him. This is a really great podcast. Here's what he covered. Then I might say something like, what other topics do you follow?
Yeah.
What other, I notice you're connected or that you're following other influencers. You have this normal conversation. And then you can say a week or two down the road, I'm not sure if this content is interesting to you, but we just published this. If you're interested, let me know. I'm happy to send it. Again, permission to send it. I'm not sure if you're exploring this, but we just published X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
If you're interested, let me know. I'll send it. So I've built that rapport. That it was just a networking conversation around an influencer that we both like.
Yeah.
And now we can move it gradually over time, asking them. Sometimes I'll invite them to an event. We do LinkedIn Lives every single week. It's a great opportunity to invite them. And so you can say, I'm not sure if this is of interest, but it's an event. It's free. Like, it's free. There's no pitch in any of this. So they can experience you. So that's when you prospect by influencer, it's just like you went to a keynote speech and you networked with the people there.
Yeah. I really like it. Yeah. One more strategy. So we have the prospect by Paul, by influencer, by interview. So one more.
Yeah, I'm going to do a hybrid.
Okay.
Which is prospect by interview and job change.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So this is a fun one. So for a lot of my clients, they're really interested in connecting with the buyers in their first 90 days of a new job because they're most open to hearing new ideas. They've been brought in to make change. They're not settled in on old habits and old vendors and all those other things, right? So, but here's the problem. We know on LinkedIn they had a job change and 723 people are congratulating them, and okay, you're going to disappear. But what if you have a blog post that's what top CROs, that's okay, chief revenue officers, what top CROs wish they knew in the first 90 days of their job?
I like it because immediately you have the context, the connection again. You refer basically to their situation where they are in at the moment. Okay.
Right. So I go out and the CROs I know that have been there for years, whatever, and I interview 10 of them.
Yeah.
7 of them. It doesn't matter.
Awesome.
Right.
That's awesome.
Now, every new person that's in that role, I'm going to say, congratulations. I know the first 90 days can be overwhelming. That's why we compiled this from your peers.
Yeah.
If you're interested, I'm happy to send it over. Very little of me is in this, right? There's an opening paragraph and that we wrote, and then I wrote, okay. So now we send that over and then they go, yes, please. So I say, here's a link as promised. P.S. At day 91, would you be willing to share what you wish you had learned?
That's cool. Yeah.
And then I keep adding to it.
I like it. Yeah. I like your approaches very much. Really. I do. Brynne, how often a week should somebody post if they use strategies like you just mentioned? So I'm not talking about, okay, just throwing shitty stuff out there and not communicating with people. But if somebody is really using strategies like you mentioned and is really interested in the connection with the person first, because we are connecting with people and not with profiles here. Yeah. How often should somebody post?
So let's start with an appropriate ratio.
Yeah.
If there's a 10-to-1 ratio, you should be engaging 10 times more than you post. So it is much more important that you are reacting and commenting than actually sharing your content.
Okay.
Number one.
And when you say commenting, I guess you really need commenting on the post and not just like and just scrolling down. And I heard something that LinkedIn is, if you don't have at least 5 words or really an answer or a sentence, it doesn't even count it as a comment or an answer or an engagement.
So I believe it's 7. That's what I've heard. Yeah. So I believe it's 7. And I'll tell you, for my clients that are like, I don't have time to do all that or whatever, here's what I recommend.
Yeah.
Read quickly read the article and pull out a quote from the article that you really like. And it's a great post. This quote really resonated with me. Paste with a little bit of why, and that's it.
Yeah.
Then they know you read it. It doesn't feel like it was an AI spammy thing, right? And because you're pulling that out and it's meaningful. So it's a great way to get a lot of words, but also keep it authentic.
Okay, that's cool. So 10 times more. And if I really engage a lot, should I post once a day, once a week? I don't know.
No more than once a day. So no more than once a day. I probably post. So I'm a little bit of a random poster should me sound like, what do you mean you're a random poster? But there are some weeks where I have so much more I want to talk about than other weeks.
Yeah.
But I am a minimum of 3 days a week.
Okay. Yeah.
That said, I don't want anyone to be like, how can I do 3 days a week? If it's 1 day a week, but you're engaging 25 times a day, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine. The engaging will start more conversations than the posting.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And for example, when you post something, would you recommend, if you, for example, a thought leader like you are, or what we do also in the business coaching and consulting area, would you recommend talk more about personal thoughts, for example, or personal experience, or more general teachings? I mean, in both criteria, I need to hit these five. I need to hit these 5 bullet points. What you already mentioned about the content needs to hit these 5. Yeah, but more the personal stuff, because I mean, LinkedIn is not Facebook, and it's not Insta where people want to read personal stuff.
Well, so let's just say I will clarify. Those are the 5 things that need to happen if you have content for social selling, content that you want to start business conversations. That isn't the only content that you want to put out there. People do want to get to know you. And I will say one of the things that I would have pushed back on, but the data is proving me wrong, is people really do on LinkedIn want to know you. I would not go like into anything sad or depressing or like any of that kind of thing. But what LinkedIn is seeing in their video reels, which is in beta on the mobile, so not everyone has it, but if you have the
I think in Europe it's not launched yet, right? Because we are located in Europe and I don't have access to it yet.
But I do, unfortunate. But sometimes you get things before we do. So it's not, it's just the way
that's fine.
Roll things out.
We will get it.
But one of the things that that folks from LinkedIn told me are some of the content that's doing exceptionally well is a day in the life.
Okay.
Day in the life of an account manager.
Yeah.
A day in the life of an SDR, right? So a day in the life of a chief marketing officer, and they're quick, like 60-second videos, everything from getting coffee to sitting in meetings they're actually performing exceptionally well. So it's still professional, but it's also a little personal as well.
Yeah. I like this very much. Yeah. So basically literally both. Yeah.
But recognize the day in the life is a branding opportunity, not a sales opportunity. It's about, that's going to connect you maybe more personally with your network, which is great. That particular piece, do not expect that it's going to convert to conversations. But
I mean, I don't know how do you view this? I'm not expecting some sales conversions from a posting. When I post something, I want to start meaningful conversations. And afterwards, when I have a conversation going on, I need to, qualify my prospect and get information where I probably help, how I can help them. And then I can set up a meeting or whatever. But I don't expect any conversion from a posting, actually.
So conversion to me is a meaningful conversation. That's the conversion, right?
Okay, got it.
Not every post is built to do that. So, these day in the life posts are based on connecting with you as a human, which will probably increase the likelihood of them engaging on a social selling post.
Yeah.
So it definitely has a role, but it's don't expect a day in the life to help specifically convert those engagements to sales conversations. It's the educational pieces that will.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, got it. A couple of very short last questions. Yeah. So the newsletter opportunity on LinkedIn. I mean, reaching people with a normal newsletter or an email list gets harder and harder because more restrictions come into place. And Google put out and also Yahoo put out these restrictions at the beginning of the year. Would you recommend to start a LinkedIn newsletter, or is it probably even better than hitting the normal email list in the meantime?
So I would say do both. We do both.
Yeah.
I think nurturing your email is really important.
Yeah.
Nurturing your email list. And yes, it might be harder and harder, but a lot of people really respond to email, and a lot don't. So that's why multi-channels is a great thing.
Yeah.
I would repeat that inside of LinkedIn. And then at the bottom of your newsletter, I would say originally published with a link to subscribe to your email one.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Right. So you're saying that it's a duplicate, you're letting them know. But the real value of the LinkedIn newsletter, especially the first time you push it out, is every single person in your network gets invited to follow it one time.
But it's just one time, right? I cannot send them the invites multiple times, correct?
You can invite people.
Yeah, but manually, like I do an event, right? So I cannot invite 11,000 people to an event or to the newsletter again, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that first one is really good.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. I mean, Brynne, you have a huge network on LinkedIn. I think, what, 54K or something like that?
I think more than that, but thank you.
Even more. Yeah. I'm sorry to
somewhere around 67,000 right now. Yeah.
Is there a time where basically your followers go viral? So because at the beginning, okay, you need to establish connections, and it takes a long time. And because you need to do these communications and all this, but is there a time where it clicks and basically, I don't know, if you hit 30K, then more new people are following every single day, every single week?
Yeah, so I hit my 30K and it's unfortunate. I have to delete connections to accept new connections. And
it's the connections, but the followers are unlimited.
The followers. So, I really do. So the interesting thing, okay, let's start with when you share content, typically there's a follow button under your name. There's a new product or section of the LinkedIn profile called services, where you can have request proposal, which has been working great, but my followers have gone dead. Like the follower growth has slowed down.
Oh, okay, because they hit the other button.
Because they're doing that button and the follow button isn't there.
Okay.
So, having that follow button really does help. But that's relatively new. But I was like, what happened? Why are they, what is my content not working as well? Like, what's going on? And I recognize they're still engaging on the content, but it's not as easy to follow.
Yeah, correct. So, okay, got it. But it's not viral where you say, okay, you hit 20K and then you don't need to invest a lot of effort anymore and more followers are coming and coming and coming.
I do not focus on building followers. I focus on building meaningful conversations. The followers are a bonus.
Yeah, but I think, this is like you just mentioned. You will never hit a lot of followers if you don't focus on the meaningful connections, I think, on LinkedIn, because it's just
on the meaningful content. And the content, right?
Yeah. Okay, I love it. Brynne, you see, I could go on and on and on and on, but I really stopped here now course, I really appreciate your time. So, Brynne, if somebody wants to connect with you and want to get help from your side, what's the best way to connect with you or to reach out to you?
So the first thing I'd say is if you really want value, we have a free public library. It's socialsaleslink.com/library. It's got tons and tons of resources, and it will be free forever. So that's socialsaleslink.com/library. LinkedIn is, I'm still the only Brynne Tillman on LinkedIn, so that's awesome. And I invite folks to have a conversation with me at socialsaleslink.com/Brynne, BRYNNE.
That's awesome, Brynne. We definitely go to put this in the posting and also below our interview. Thanks again, Brynne, for your time. I learned a bunch of things. You saw me typing all the time. So thank you really, really a lot. And also to all your listeners out there, just connect with Brynne. She is incredible. I hope you heard it. I mean, I learned so many things. She can teach you so much more. And thanks for that. Just implement what you just heard. And I wish you a lot of success and a great time. Till next, thanks for now. Bye-bye.
Bye.